So, OpenAI just unveiled Aardvark. It's an AI agent powered by GPT-5 that hunts for software bugs. Just this year, we've seen over 40,000 new software vulnerabilities, and that number grows every single year. So, what is it? It's an AI that finds, checks, and even helps fix software bugs at a crazy scale.
OpenAI even calls it a digital bloodhound for bugs. Pretty cool, right? It just digs deep into code.
Okay, so how does this thing actually work? It basically mimics what a human security researcher would do. It's a whole process. It models threats, discovers bugs, validates them in a sandbox, and then suggests a patch. Now, the promise here is huge. Think of Aardvark as a powerful new digital guardian for our code. So what if you could build an AI that finds security flaws before the bad guys do? Well, OpenAI thinks they've done just that with a tool they're calling Aardvark, kind of like a digital bloodhound for bugs. But here's the big question. In creating the perfect guardian, have they also accidentally created the perfect weapon? Let's dive in. First off, why do we even need an AI bug hunter? Well, look at this number, over 40,000. That's how many new software vulnerabilities have been officially reported just in 2024, and we're not even done with the year. And that number is climbing every single day. This isn't just a small problem, it is a full-blown crisis. For human security teams, it's like trying to bail out a sinking ship with a teaspoon. It's an unwinnable war against a never-ending tide of new flaws. Which brings us to the real question, right? With the crazy volume and complexity of all the software we use today, how can any team of humans possibly stay ahead of the curve? I mean, the talent shortage in cybersecurity is a huge issue, and the attackers, they only need to find one tiny crack to get in. And this is where Aardvark comes in. It's pitched as the answer, an AI that never needs coffee, never gets tired, never burns out. But, as we're about to see, when you create something this good at finding problems, you also create a massive dilemma. The exact same tech that can protect us could just as easily be turned into a weapon. Okay, so before we get into exactly what Aardvark does, we really need to understand why the old way of finding bugs is so fundamentally broken. You see, for years, security teams have been using these automated scanners, and these tools basically look for known patterns of bad code. The problem is, they're not very smart. They're just rule-based, which creates a ton of noise. We're talking about false positive rates that can be as high as 50%. Think about that. Half the time, the human experts are just chasing ghosts, wasting precious time on alerts that mean nothing. So, to cut through all that noise, OpenAI is introducing Aardvark. And you need to understand, this isn't just a better scanner, it's a completely different species of tool. And this right here is the absolute key to the whole thing. Aardvark is an autonomous agent. It's not just running down a checklist someone gave it. It can actually reason, it can plan, and it can use other tools to figure things out, all by itself. It's really interesting how OpenAI CEO talks about this. He doesn't call it a piece of software. It's framed as a digital team member, a tireless researcher that has the creativity of a human expert, but it operates at a scale that is just, well, superhuman. Now, under the hood, this thing is built on the next-gen GPT-5 model. But the technology isn't even the most important part. The core idea, the philosophy, is what matters. It's not about matching patterns, it's about understanding the intent and the architecture of the code, just like a real human analyst would. So how in the world does it actually do that? To really get why this could be such a big deal, we need to look at its pretty unique workflow. This comparison really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the old world, rigid rules, a fire hose of false alarms. And on the other, you have Aardvark's approach, actually thinking about context, validating its own work, and, this is the wild part, even dreaming up entirely new kinds of flaws that a simple scanner would never ever find. Okay, so here's the process, and it's pretty brilliant. First, it builds this mental map of the software, just like a person would. Then, it doesn't just scan, it forms a hypothesis. I think there might be a problem right here. But step 3, that's the real magic. It actually tries to prove itself right by running a real exploit in a totally safe contained sandbox. And if it succeeds, it even suggests the code to fix the problem. And that sandbox validation, it changes everything. Because Aardvark actually confirms the bug is exploitable, it cuts through all that noise we talked about. The false positive rate just plummets. from that crazy 30 to 50% range all the way down to below 5%. That means when Aardvark raises an alarm, you listen because you know it's found something real. But this is where the story gets a lot more complicated. Because a tool this powerful, this good at finding flaws, well, it brings up some really serious ethical questions. And this question gets right to the heart of the whole dual-use dilemma. The second you build an AI that's brilliant at finding flaws to protect systems, you've also created the perfect blueprint for an AI designed to attack them. And these concerns are no joke. The big one, of course, is weaponization. If the good guys have this, what's stopping the bad guys from building their own version for offense? Then you have the human element. Is this going to automate security researchers right out of a job? And even for the people who are left, there's this oracle problem. If we start to rely on the AI for everything, do our own critical thinking skills start to fade away? And then there are the thorny legal questions. Who's on the hook if Aardvark misses a huge bug? And we have to remember, it's still an AI. It has blind spots. It can only find the kinds of things it's been trained to look for. So, despite all of these very real concerns, one thing is becoming crystal clear. Aardvark isn't just some new product. It really represents the beginning of a massive shift in how we even think about security. I think the big takeaway here is that the battlefield itself is changing. We're moving away from a model where humans are doing all the hands-on work to an era of AI-augmented defense. The speed and scale of everything today just demands it. Humans aren't going away, but our role is changing. We're becoming the strategists, overseeing these AI guardians. And that leaves us right here with this one final question. Is Aardvark the tireless guardian we've been waiting for, the thing that finally tips the scales in favor of the defenders? Or is it the starting pistol for a brand new AI arms race in cyberspace, with automated attackers fighting automated defenders? The only thing we know for sure is that the future of security is never, ever going to be the same.